Welcome to Crushing Kayfabe. My name is Jason Garish. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see. We got a whole lot going on, but not really. As obviously WWE builds up to Money in the Bank. We had Forbidden Door this weekend, which I haven't even, to be honest with you, looked at the results of. I know that's horrible. I don't follow New Japan. Sorry, I do not. I mean, there's already so much to watch and pay attention to. I just can't. I used to watch New Japan. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Just don't have time now anymore. Unfortunately, I'm not saying it's inferior product. It isn't, but I just don't have time for that many shows. Do we have? I'm assuming we have results online. Probably should have brought that up previously, but yeah, I know. We had our second episode of Collision, which of course I watched. They're doing a lot of the booking on this pretty darn well. I'm really liking the direction of Collision because I don't It's to the point now where Dynamite, I almost have a difficult time getting through just because it's become so flippy kind of, and it's more geared towards smaller wrestlers, and they underutilize the bigger wrestlers. It just kind of all starts to blend into one kind of a spot fest, unfortunately, but which kind of has its place. I used to enjoy the X Division in Impact a lot, but that was one or two episodes. I mean, not episodes, one or two matches a night. That wasn't the entire show, and it's almost like Dynamite is becoming that, and I really don't feel like watching an entire episode of the X Division kind of thing. I'm just trying to get this darn microphone to stay in one place. It's acting like it doesn't want to. But yeah, I do enjoy Collision. As much more geared to traditional wrestling fans, and the pacing is much better. The overall show is just much better. The booking is 100 times better than Dynamite, and getting to watch CM Punk again is another great treat. I wasn't sure I'd ever see a guy wrestle again, and now he's on every week. But one of the questions I had going into this was how is he going to be received with the new audience, well, in other venues, I should say, other than Chicago. And he did receive some boos, and he did receive some cheers. There was a healthy portion of the crowd that did boo him. So you know what, though? You know, CM Punk said that's fine. And I agree with him. As long as you're getting an emotional, strong reaction, good. That's what wrestling's all about. You know, in wrestling, apathy is your worst enemy. And if you're gonna get no response whatsoever, that's the worst thing that can happen. And Punk is still getting a response, and that's good. I don't care, negative, positive, he's still getting a response, and he's getting more of a response than the Elite, I think. You know, whether it's negative or positive, he gets more of a response than the Elite. I'm just kind of looking at the results now. Like I said, I'm not familiar with the Japanese wrestlers, unfortunately. So I'm not going to lie to you and say that, you know, these could have been amazing matches. Unfortunately, I don't know. It looks like they continued the Owen Hart Cup tournament in the pay-per-view, which I'm glad. I'm happy about that. CM Punk won his match in that. Did anybody else? Athena defeated Billy Starks. You weren't going to see any of the New Japan people win in the Owen Hart tournament, I don't think. I mean, those are looks like those are the only two matches. We had one men's, one women's match for the Owen Hart tournament. And I'm really happy to see the the Owen Hart tournament. And that's one of the things I really like about AEW. They can shed a light and pay tribute to the things that WWE can't. And obviously, Owen Hart's widow is still very miffed, to say the least, at WWE. I don't think you'll ever see any reconciliation between her and the WWE, but at least we can pay a fitting tribute to Owen Hart, and they even use his image in the new video game coming up, which I'm happy about. I think that's great. I really do. So there are certain things that AEW can do that WWE can't, and I think they should emphasize those things and play those things up and draw attention to those things and emphasize those things, because that's what sets them apart from WWE. I always got upset with TNA when they went away from the six-sided ring and went away from some of the things that set them apart from WWE, and a lot of that, unfortunately, was Bischoff's and Hogan's doing. I have a lot of respect for Eric Bischoff, but he's made some really horrible mistakes too, especially with TNA. When him and Hogan came in, that was, in my mind, the beginning of the end for TNA. I mean, they popped some ratings, they had some good shows, but then once again, the changes they made made them much more like WWE than setting themselves apart from WWE. And it made them look like a WWE light, It made, like I said, drew attention to them for a little while, and then did them in. I think, right now Impact is kind of limping along on its last leg. I don't know how they've survived this long, but I used to flip through channels, and that's one of the things that caught my eye. I mean, even non-wrestling fans, they saw the six-sided ring and was like, "What's this?" It was unique to TNA, and they couldn't tell if it was MMA federation or if it was a wrestling federation. Just the non-wrestling fan flipping through channels, and that's a good thing. It draws attention to you, and they should have kept that going. And I think a lot of the wrestlers that Hogan brought in, and Hogan himself, didn't like wrestling inside the six-sided ring, but hey, you kind of shot yourselves in the foot by taking away something that set you apart and made you unique from WWE, and that was just silly. In my mind. But I always liked the six-sided ring. Like I said, I thought it was new, it was interesting, and getting back to X Division, some of the X Division guys really utilized it. The extra turnbuckles and the extra angles kind of utilized it to their advantage and made it quite an interesting show. I think it was stupid that they did away with that. Like I said, it was something that was unique to them, trademark, and and even AJ cut a great shoot/work promo on Hogan about that. And I think there was a lot of truth and a lot of honesty when he did that promo. I think he was in the ring with Kaz and some of the other TNA originals. But like I said, one of AJ's better promos, very impassioned, very passionate promo against Hogan and against Bischoff, and I can't say I disagree with him. But getting back kind of to AEW, like I said, I understand what sets them apart and makes them look different, but at the same time, there has to be some link with traditional wrestling. If you're going to survive and grow as a company, guess what? You've got to attract new viewers. Because right now, 500,000 to 800,000 viewers a week on, let's say, Dynamite isn't cutting it. When you look at 1 million, 2 million plus or whatever with WWE, depending on the show, whether it's a flagship show, Raw, or SmackDown, whatnot, it's just not cutting it. I don't know if they ever thought they were going to be legitimately a contender against WWE, or if they wanted to just kind of do their own thing. I don't know. I from the start, I always thought that was their intentions, because I know Cody came in with a chip on his shoulder, and I know that, Tony Khan obviously supplied the money for AEW, but if you really get down to the heart of the matter, and the heart and soul of AEW at the very beginning was Cody Rhodes. Came out busting up basically a replica, or intended to look like Triple H's throne from one of the WrestleManias, and having that insane match, great match with his brother Dustin, and just he really was the catalyst for that whole AEW, and now he's gone. And I think part of the problem was the EVPs, the reason why he left. I think he had differences of opinions with Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. I think they're legitimately friends, and I think he didn't want to ruin that friendship, and he didn't want to put up with the stress of telling them, hey, this isn't how you run a wrestling company. That's what I think, and then the stress of trying to put himself over and be over and be a television personality. And he was cutting some great promos in AEW, on par with the promos he's cutting in WWE now. The guy is highly intelligent. He can be charismatic, and can be a great babyface. He can be a great heel, and he's a heck of a wrestler in the ring. So, I've criticized him in the past. Because he does come off as kind of douchey sometimes, but he's kind of keeping that in check now. And part of the problem, I hate to say this, is people don't like Brandy too. I think is part of the problem. Is that's why I'm hoping that they keep her off of television in WWE, because I think it's going to hurt Cody's babyface run at this point if she comes on, because there are a lot of people that she rubs the wrong way, and she doesn't come off as genuine on television. She comes off disingenuous, but yeah, I think Cody's leaving really put a hole inside of AEW, which hasn't been, for lack of a better term, been filled. I think CM Punk helped out tremendously when he signed, but we had that whole incident between him and the Elite, with EVPs, and that obviously has thrown a tremendous monkey wrench in the works, because you've had so many people like the Young Bucks leaking stuff, Kenny Omega leaking stuff, to people like Meltzer or Alvarez that have just buried CM Punk, and that's hurt their product. It's kind of idiotic when you think of it. It's like, okay, this guy can make me a lot of money and draw a lot of attention to my wrestling. Let me put him down. Let me make sure this guy never ever recovers, and that's kind of what they did to him, and it's real sad. But yeah, like Punk gets on there and says, tell me when I'm lying, and he's not lying. He went about things in an extremely unprofessional way and the wrong way, and he's tried to make amends since then. I know he's reached out to the Young Bucks. I know he's reached out to Kenny Omega, and he's received responses from their lawyers. But he's trying. He can't say the guy isn't trying. Is he a hothead? Yes. I think part of the problem is he's just extremely passionate about wrestling, and that's not the problem. That's a good thing. That's why he can generate the buzz he does. That's why he can have these reactions that he does, whether it's from a heel standpoint or a babyface standpoint. And he can do either equally well. Some would argue probably that he's a better heel, but I think the guy's at a point in his life where he's kind of looking back, and he made amends with a lot of people at WWE, and he's tried to, fix some bridges, mend some bridges there, and so then when you come into it, with people like the Young Bucks, like Kenny Omega, who were big stars in Japan, but really have done nothing in the U.S. I'm sorry. Every opportunity pretty much they've had at major promotions, they really have dropped the ball. Like TNA, any interaction with WWE, they've really dropped the ball, and shown themselves to be extremely disrespectful. I respect them for what they've done within the independents and within New Japan. I mean, they've proven that you don't have to work at WWE to have a very productive, very, very lucrative career, because they've made lots of money, doing their own thing the way they want to, which is great. But at the same time, now you're kind of in the big leagues and you've got to behave in a certain manner. Not that New Japan isn't. I'm not gonna put New Japan down, but it's different now, and you've got millions of eyes on you, and you've got to behave in a different manner. Sorry, it's a different world over here. It's a different situation. You're not going to be able to get away with the things that you got away with in Japan. It's a different culture, different everything. But enough of that. I think I've spoken, ad nauseum about the interaction between Punk and the Elite. But like I said, I'm kind of looking at this Forbidden Door results, and I kind of knew things were going to go down the way they did. It's not really nothing really surprising. I do want to see the Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega. He defeated Kenny Omega. I'm guessing that Don Callis was probably involved there. I don't know, but that's a match I definitely do want to see, because they have put on some great matches in New Japan. I have seen that, so and I really do like Ospreay. I think he has the potential to be a big star over here. I don't know if he wants to be. I don't know if he wants to give up that lifestyle in Japan to come over here and sacrifice that many days to be here, and I don't think he does either from the interviews I've seen. But he is very good in the ring. He's excellent, and he can cut a promo, and he is charismatic. So I do like Will Ospreay. Other than that, like I said, I'm really come on, El Phantasmo versus Stu Grayson. I'm sorry, I don't mean to put either one of those wrestlers down, but was that the pre-show? That must have been. Jeez. But nothing on that card except for a couple of matches interests me all that much, and that's too bad. I might not watch the previous Forbidden Door. Was it enjoyable? Yeah, but they had almost no build up to this with storylines involving the wrestlers that were on the show. So the American audience tuning into this, who's completely unfamiliar with the Japanese wrestlers, is not going to be emotionally invested. I'd really like to see the buy rates for this, because I can't imagine this is one of the bigger ones, because you're kind of going for a niche crowd, and I know that's what AEW wants, but that's a small portion of your fan base right there. If you really want to expand, really want to do things, you've got to look at things on a much greater scale, and you can't be catering to a very small number of people that enjoy that. You've got to have something else to entertain people and keep them emotionally invested, and I think that's what Collision is doing right now, to tell you the truth. So if anything, I think Collision, I think despite the fact that they gave them a garbage night on Saturday, I think that they might actually outdo ratings of Dynamite in the long run. I really do, because it is a much better show. I'm sorry, it really is, and I'm not just saying that because I am a huge CM Punk mark. And I'll fully admit that I will, but I think it is a much better show, and I'm not the only one that has that feedback right now. I think it's a much tighter show, better booking, much better run show. I do kind of miss, I hate to say this, I do kind of miss Excalibur. I do enjoy his play-by-play. I know a lot of people bash him nonstop, but I do think Excalibur is one of the better commentators within wrestling right now, and I think he's an excellent play-by-play. Does he make mistakes? Yeah, he does. He's human. Everybody does. Get over it. But he does a much better job of going through the play-by-play, I think, than pretty much anyone else in this point, because you look at WWE programming, it's kind of like a bunch of color commentators almost. You've got some guys that do play-by-play, usually the babyface of the team, the announcing team, and they kind of do it sporadically. They don't get into specific movesets and whatnot, and I really enjoy that when, they're Excalibur's naming off the different moves and explaining what's going in the ring, and I like that. Maybe it's a nerd in me that enjoys that, but I like the technical aspect of things, and I enjoy hearing it. So, and you've always got the guys like Taz, Shivani, whatnot, who are going to provide color on the side, or Jericho if he's announcing. You're always going to have those guys to do color, to fill in everything, to really give, make the stories come to life. So I enjoy his commentary, and when he's working with the right color guys, I think the commentary is a heck of a lot better in AEW than WWE. Although commentary on WWE television has improved greatly, ever since Vince McMahon left the product, and now he's back, obviously. But I think it's a lot easier to do commentary when you don't have somebody screaming constantly in your ear, But yeah, I didn't even get into really Money in the Bank, any predictions for anything. But we're running out of time, unfortunately. I'd like to give a shout out to Then and Now Flea Market, and come on down and check them out. We have a booth there, so you can buy some handmade goods that my wife has made, and get some CDs if you want to hear my album. Also, that's right in the square, downtown Trenton, Tennessee. Give a shout out to crushingkayfabe.com, Crushing Kayfabe with a K, Crushing with a K. And check us out there. Also check us out on Patreon. Once again, do a search for Crushing Kayfabe, Crushing with a K, and for just $1 a month, you can have the show ad free, which I think is pretty darn cool, and it helps me out tremendously. So if you help us out right there and get a subscription to Crushing Kayfabe, on Patreon, that would be amazing. It would help out immensely. So check that out, please. Check us out on Twitter, on Facebook, whatnot, and continue to pray and send donations out to legitimate organizations to help the Ukraine, please. Those people are in dire need, and please help them out. That's pretty much it, though, for the show today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. It'd be nice if I learned how to speak someday. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and God bless. Thank you.